Now we are trying to put the reciprocating wear tester. First of all, we will put the lower drive that will move back and forth. So now I am putting the lower drive for the reciprocating wear tester. So this is the lower drive. Now I am putting it inside the chamber. So whenever you are putting the lower drive, make sure this hole in here, it should be in the front side. This is the test chamber, and these are the two cables that comes with this lower drive. This one is the power cable, and this is the data cable that will transmit all those data during the test. Now you need to connect those two. For the power source, there is a power source in here. You can just put it in there. And you can hear a click when it's in the position. And this is the data cable. And you need to tighten the data cable by using a set screw. For the reciprocating wear test, for all of our standard tests, we are using 5.03 millimeter stroke length, but we can also adjust the stroke length by losing up some screws from here, and we can measure the distance. We have a device that can measure the stroke length, what type of stroke length we need to use. So for that type of customization, you need to contact with Dr. Farad to adjust the stroke length and the position of the reciprocating wear testing. And for now we are using 5.03 millimeter stroke length. So this is the upper drive or slider. This is the base that we put inside the slider. This is the sensor that is connected to the base. In here it says 10 kilogram sensor. So now we are using 10 kilogram sensor. This is the suspension that we use with the sensor, and this is the indenter or reciprocating ball that we are using for now. This is a steel ball. We can change, we can just move this holder, and we can change this ball as a steel ball or carbide ball, whatever our test requires. So now I will put that drive into the slider. So you can just slide it in, and whenever you are sliding in, make sure the the port for data cable is on your left. So slide the whole slider into the slider, lock it down, connect a data cable, make sure all the data is collected during the test to the machine. And the setup is done. So this is the lower drive, this is the upper drive or slider or carriage, we can also call it carriage. This is the indenter, this is the suspension, this is the sensor, and this is the base that we use to put it inside the slider. In order to turn the machine on, there are two different switches at the back of this machine, one for the lower drive and one for the upper drive. So we will turn both of them on, because we will move both of them during the test. So the machine is turned on, and you can see the red light on, that means the machine is on. And during the test you can also see the green light will be on, that means the test is running. This is our reciprocating wear tester holder. So we use this type of holder to put our sample inside the holder, and this is our test sample. We'll put that holder in. You have to put the holder in, just put it back, make sure the sample is flat from the back, and tighten it so that it can't move during the test. So our sample is ready for the test. Now we are putting the specimen holder inside the chamber. So make sure when you put the sample, these two ends will be inside the machine. So you just slide it in, put it there, and in order to tighten the specimen holder inside the chamber, there is a two screw with the specimen holder. Just tighten those screws to make it rigid inside the chamber. So now it's tightened. You can feel it from there, it's not moving. And whenever your test is done, unscrew these two and lift your sample holder from here. In order to run the reciprocating wet test, you need to select the UMT software from the desktop. Click on the UMT. The software window will be open. So first of all, you need to choose the option file. Go to option, load, and from this strip folder, go to options, UMT3, reciprocating. Today we are using 10 kilogram sensor, so you can just choose 10 kilogram reciprocating. Choose this option file. Then you need to choose appropriate script file. In order to do so, you just go to script, open script, go back to the tree folder, go to scripts, reciprocating, and then 10 kilogram reciprocating. Choose one of them. Now it has two different scripts. One is for the preload, which one is selected, and the other one is for reciprocating. Preload is used to give the same amount of load as the reciprocating load, and it will just touch the sample and it will give that amount of load before the test for 5 seconds, and after this preload period, the script will go to reciprocating and it will do the reciprocating test at that load and time duration at your desire. Now in order to change the preload, like if you change the reciprocating load, reciprocating testing load, then you need to also change the preload too. So let's say for now we will use 1 kilogram reciprocating load. So the 1 kilogram reciprocating load is selected from here. If you want to change the load, let's say we want to do 2 kilogram reciprocating test, so you need to change the preload to 2 kilogram as well. So you will select this preload section and then go to carriage, and from carriage there is the force option. You can press -2 kilogram load, and you don't need to change anything else from the preload section. Then you can go to the reciprocating, and in the force you can choose the carriage. It will be 2 kilogram, same as the preload. And if you want to change the test duration, you can change it from here. Let's say we will do the test for 2 minutes, so the 2 is in here, and you can change the minutes or hours from there. As well as you can also change the frequency during the test. So we can use 2 Hz frequency during the test. So our test condition is 2 kilogram normal load, 2 minutes test duration, and 2 Hz frequency. Now when everything is set up, then you can press this reciprocating, go to data file and browse and save your reciprocating test results. So let's say we put it as a test. We're just giving a name for this one as test. This is our data file. All of our data will be saved in that file. Now in order to run the actual test, you need a couple of more windows. One is the graph that will show you the load. So if you click in this graph panel, it will show you the graph, active graph during the test. The semi-automatic panel, we need this semi-automatic panel to make the force 0 before the test from the software, and we need that position adjustment panel to position our reciprocating ball to the sample, on top of the sample. So we need this one to move the slider and lower drive back and forth and up and down. Now in order to move the lower drive, you can press Alter and less than arrow to move it forward, and greater than arrow to move it backward. In order to move the ball and the upper drive or carriage up and down, you can press Alter and click on that lower arrow, it will move it down. If you press upper arrow, it will move it up. If you press the right arrow, it will move it right, and left arrow, it will move it left. Now by using these 4 keys, we will adjust the indenter, or we will adjust the reciprocating ball on top of the sample. And whenever you position your ball on top of the sample, make sure it is close enough without touching the surface. And whenever you are in the range, do not use the Alt key, use the Control key to move it really slow. Make sure the ball doesn't touch the surface, but it is close enough to the specimen. As we see from the graph, fx and fz value is not 0. So we will try to make it 0 from the hardware first, and then after that, if we can go till 0, then we can make it 0 from the software. So first of all, we will try to make it 0 from the hardware. In order to do so, you need to go back to the slider. There are 2 screws in here. One says 0 fx and another one says 0 fz. By adjusting these 2 screws, you can make it close to 0 or 0 by using the hardware. As you can see from here, the fx is around 1.10. So I'll try to make it 0 from the hardware by adjusting those screws. Says 0 fx. So now it's close to 0. Now I'll try to adjust fz from the hardware. And it's close to 0 as well. Now as you see, the fx is around almost 0 and the fz is 0, but in order to make it perfectly 0, we can make it 0 from the software. So in order to do so, you need the semi-automatic panel. When you click that semi-automatic panel, you can see 2 different things in here, 0 all and restore all. So if you press this 0 all, then the force in here, everything will be 0 from the software. Now our force is 0. In order to run the test, you need to select the script file that says reciprocating test. Select that script file and then press start. If you press start, then you can see some changes in the script file. Repeat all selected sequence. Okay. Now it will run the test, and if you look at the script file, you can see the preload is highlighted. That means the machine is preloading. Now it's going back to the reciprocating, and you can see from here the fx and fz is changing, and the test is running.
And the test is over.